What's good, sports fans? We welcome you to the quarterfinal edition of the San Diego High School basketball playoffs. I am Christian Pedersen, the voice on the small screen down there in the corner. That is Bodie Da Silva. Bodie will bring you full screen. He is the Scorebook Live reporter for the San Diego CIF section. He is joining us via remote right now because, well, he would normally come in studio today. He's got to go start covering baseball because that's what we are in right now at that madness of that transitioning season. But Bodie, we have you here to talk about basketball. This is the Division I bracket video. We're going to have all of them, so swipe around, click around, check them all out. Bodie will have shoes in the background featured in every single podcast if you're curious about more of his footwear. But Bodie, right now, let's talk Division I. We got 4 games. We got 8 teams.
Yep.
We got everything from the 1 seed to the 9 seed. That's who made it through. So first game is Santa Fe, Mission Bay. Then we got Helix and San Marcos. That is one half of the bracket. The other half, we got Mission Hills, Carlsbad, LCC, El Camino. So tons of drama, I think, in those last 2 games because that's a very North County heavy group. And a decent amount of drama just over the last couple of years between Mission Bay, Santa Fe Christian, and then Helix, San Marcos. That's just a battle of 2 marquee names. So basically, it seems like we can't go wrong in this round of the quarterfinals. Last time I asked you to pick winners. Are you okay going in that direction? You want to just tell us maybe game by game what you see, starting with that Mission Bay Santa Fe Christian matchup?
Yeah, I credit to Mission Bay. I thought Rancho Buena Vista would win that first round game, so great job by Mission Bay going on the road and beating a Rancho Buena Vista team that had some really good wins this year. Santa Fe Christian, we expected to win, so I expect that'll be a good game, though. You know, Mission Bay is going to play really hard, and Santa Fe Christian hasn't been at full strength all year, so I expect that to be a really good one in the 1-9 matchup. San Marcos Helix, to me, that's probably the best game here in the second round. I obviously picked San Marcos to be in the championship game in this division, but this is no guarantee for them. You know, Helix is going to be ready. They've played well all year. They really haven't had a home environment, so they're used to playing on the road. I would expect that to be a really good game. Obviously, I'll pick San Marcos, but I don't think it's going to be an easy one for them at all.
I'll play devil's advocate and say that we are starting to see the value in having high physical presence players like Maurice Holmes in the paint, and that is something that I think in this condensed playoff, you know, not gonna. I don't like just necessarily comparing versions of high school teams to each other because there's always something different. Graduation, who we were playing, but the Miles Norris team from Helix was very downhill in the paint, physical, and this Helix team has a little shades of that I really like in a playoff scenario. In that other game, I would love to be behind a 9-seeded Mission Bay storming through into the playoffs. I'm watching that coaching matchup. That's Bickford versus Cherry. They kind of know each other's that's going to be a really evenly matched. I think that might be a low-scoring, exciting, really slugfest type of game. Other side of the bracket, Mission Hills, Carlsbad. Who do you like there? LCC and El Camino. Who do you like there?
Yeah, so I'll pick Carlsbad, though. Obviously, this is a league matchup, so they're playing for the 3rd time already this year, 3rd time already in the new year. So it's definitely hard to keep beating a team. So I expect Mission Hills will give them a really good game here. Carlsbad at home with Jalen Nelson, who's been one of the best players in the county all year. I think they get it done. Obviously, they're the other team I've picked in my final. On the bottom, I'll go La Costa Canyon. They've played really well of late. I know this game will be played at a neutral site. They'll have to play it over at Army-Navy Academy. But El Camino's played well as well here in the later stretch. Obviously did not lose a league game. But the way La Costa's played, I think, in the second half of league, I'll give them the advantage and have them move on to the semifinals.
I agree with you on Carlsbad. We'll split on the other game. You can follow Bodie at SD Preps on Twitter, on Instagram. He's the Scorebook Live reporter for the San Diego CIF section. Scorebook Live, the official digital content provider for the San Diego and the entire state wide CIF. Bodie, thank you very much for joining us here.
The Division I bracket was one of the few ones that avoided any major upsets.
Yeah.
No huge changes.
No big changes.
Mission Bay number 9 is the lowest seeded moving on. They beat the 8 seed Rancho Buena Vista, technically an upset, more of a upset by optics than by reality.
Yeah.
They will take on number 1 Santa Fe Christian. Number 5 Helix travels to take on number 4 San Marcos. Number 3 El Camino hosts number 2 La Costa Canyon. Number 2 Carlsbad hosts number 9 Mission Hill. So that second half of the bracket decidedly North County heavy. A lot of really fun games. Let's start with SFC Mission Bay, though. I had this one pegged as a coaching matchup that I'm watching. I love the 2 head coaches here have enough history in the last 5 years that I think throw out the 1 and the 9 necessarily. It's not that big of a gap when they know each other's tendencies and styles.
Yeah, tendency, styles, and definitely some cross matchups to watch. Santa Fe Christian, obviously not a very big team. Mission Bay has a really good big in Trey Taylor, so that'll be one to see how Santa Fe deals with that. But I'm going with the Eagles in this one.
Okay.
Experience really matters in these.
Well, they also have the 1 seed next to them. So I wasn't necessarily saying throw it out in the sense that this becomes a coin flip game, but an 8-seeded gap doesn't. It feels like this is 2 teams more 4 or 5 apart.
No, I think this is going to be an entertaining matchup to say the least.
But SFC pulls away at the end, kind of one of those.
I think they control it from the second half on.
Deal.
Big reason why I'd say is Hayden Gray at the point guard position versus Jello Rodriguez, and that point guard matchup. I think Hayden Gray wins that one this year. Jello is a player that we're going to be talking about for the next 4 years on this show. He's one of the best freshmen in the county. But I think Hayden has the experience, battle tested in the Coastal League multiple years, played in the Open Division last year, and I think that's where they get they are able to jump out and get that win. I think that's going to be the big thing. Keaton Smith, kind of an up and down year for him health wise, but he's rounding back into form. And then just overall, I think this, the experience that Santa Fe Christian has compared to the roster of Mission Bay, which is, really young. I think that's going to be the ultimate, determining factor.
Number 5, Helix kind of has forgotten what a home game feels like anyway. They will be playing another road one at San Marcos. 4 to 5 seed. Doesn't even feel like this is they're the same team, they're the same level of talent. This is a good playoff game.
This is going to be a war. This is, again,
you can't use that term anymore. That was your first round word.
Battle Royale.
Okay, this will be a battle royale.
Battle
So we'll
Royale.
substitute battle royale for war.
This
will be battle royale.
These are 2 very physical.
This is Maurice Holmes with a chair jumping off the crossbar with the crowd chanting.
Xavier Otis, Keyshawn Trice just throwing elbows, slugging kids, and Devin Arlington coming back and just on the attack at the point.
Okay, so if I had to ask you, people will smell what the blank is cooking. Is it going to be people will smell what the Scotties are cooking, or people are going to smell what the Knights are cooking out of this battle?
I think it's going to be what the Scotties are cooking.
Okay.
I'm picking Helix to win this one on the road. It would be a seeding upset 5-4, but I think Helix is playing their best basketball of the year right now. And I think San Marcos, they really turned things around in that first round matchup against Bishops. That was a convincing win. But I still feel that they've been kind of trending in the wrong direction towards the end of the year due to some injuries, some attrition. They lost Carson Cook, at the end of the year, and he was one of their best reserves, their key reserves. I think Helix moves on. I think it's going to be a really close game.
So those 2 games will play on to a semifinal. We go to the other side of the bracket. The first one, El Camino and La Costa Canyon. I spoke with Bodie Da Silva earlier today while wearing a Welcome to the Jungle El Camino shirt. So I'm very publicly on record saying that I'm taking El Camino in this game. We'll ask you about that one and then follow it up with Mission Hills Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Who out of those 4 are going to meet up in a semifinal?
I think it's going to be LCC versus Carlsbad.
Oh, okay. So you see a 6-3 upset, and then number 2 seeded Carlsbad continues to roll.
Yeah. I think LCC is a team that is very dangerous right now, playing excellent basketball. I talked to Dave Castle last night, who was there scouting the El Camino Westview game, and he said this is the most fun he's had with the team in years. And that really says something about the character of the kids that are in the program right now. It's in a good place. El Camino lost one of their starters last night to an injury early in the first half. looks like it's a pretty serious one too. And I think just being shorthanded and not having the depth that LCC has, I think is going to be the deciding factor. Carlsbad versus Mission Hills, what I see is just a team with a lot more weapons. If this game was played at Mission Hills, earlier in the year, they took each other to double overtime where Carlsbad prevailed.
Mm-hmm.
But I see this being at Carlsbad.
They're kind of a different team at this point, and at home.
They're a different team at home.
Yeah.
Tougher team at home. I think Jalen.
That loud crowd is a really legitimately. They're one of the few crowds that is actually a home crowd advantage type factor.
I mean, think about it. They drop the lights. They do the whole pregame experience.
They're just coordinated. Also,
Yeah,
they show up and they know how to cheer. And I will argue that is an underrated skill. Is
I would
knowing
agree.
how to cheer. You get a lot of teams that will show up for the playoffs and have kind of uncontrolled chaos and energy, and the fans will think, "Oh, that was dope. We were so hyped." But you're like, "No, you were cheering at the wrong times." And maybe it doesn't quite happen as much in basketball as it does in football, because I've seen some in football where the offense will have to go off and be like, yo, shut that DJ down and stop cheering. We're on offense. Like, we're trying to communicate out there.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily apples to oranges, but sometimes you see misplaced enthusiasm in the playoffs. And you hope that everyone can aspire to be what the Carlsbad loud crowd is.
The program, crowd, and all is a well-oiled machine right now.
I like that.
And I think that.
And they will be a semifinalist at least, according to what Aaron
That's
Dorgan
the
is
way I
saying.
see it.
That's the way that Full-Time Hoops sees it. That's how I see it. That's the Division I bracket. There is still, we have the initial podcast we did for Open. You can go back and do that one.
Yep.
But subsequently, either swipe, click, hang on the phone line if you're talking. I just enjoy any of our podcasts, how you do, but we got all of the divisions covered for you. Talk to you soon, sports fans.
For sure.